Electrocution, also a 5-year-old, can you believe, has drowned in a pit latrine. Viwe Jali died earlier this week after falling into that latrine at Luna Primary School in Bizana in the Eastern Cape. And of course, this comes 3 years after Michael Komape died in the very same way. Well, the Human Rights Commission says the failure of the state to prevent a reoccurrence and to eradicate the prevalence of pit latrines in schools is unacceptable. We're joined from our studio in Parliament by Andre Gaum from the Human Rights Commission. Mr. Gaum, you say that you're taking action, but what action did you take 3 years ago when Michael fell into that pit latrine?
No, also in that particular instance, we investigated the matter, took action. There is still a civil lawsuit taking place at present. But we have to say that we are absolutely appalled about the death of Viwe Jali, 5-year-old, in a pit latrine, yet again another case of this nature. And we as a commission want to extend our condolences to the family as well in this very difficult time. Let me say that in this particular instance, we have immediately initiated an investigation into basic infrastructure in the Eastern Cape, including this particular matter. And the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape will be called to this investigative hearing to do account in public, in front of the media, of what they have done and what they are doing in terms of dealing with the lack of proper infrastructure and basic infrastructure, including water and sanitation facilities in the Eastern Cape province. But more than that, the South African Human Rights Commission has also requested a meeting with the National Minister, Minister Angie Motshekga, to discuss the state of basic infrastructure in our schools. Already in November 2016, there was a deadline to do away with and eradicate structures of asbestos schools and schools made of improper structures. Also to provide water and sanitation and electricity to all schools, and this has not been done.
Why didn't you take all this strong action 3 years ago when Michael fell in? Why wasn't there an investigation then and these pit latrines identified, cordoned off, schools named and shamed, and the minister and the department called to account then?
Yes, I am not hearing you that well. But let me say this, that we are also very happy with the fact that the President Ramaphosa, has now weighed in, and according to news reports, he has directed the Minister of Basic Education to do an audit within the next month and then to come up with a plan, an interim urgent plan to deal with these basic infrastructure problems and unsafe structures within 3 months while proper infrastructure is put in place. He is also called on civil society to participate, and as the Human Rights Commission, we will certainly participate with the President of South Africa to make sure, and the Minister of Education, to make sure that proper infrastructure is put in place for once and for all.
Mr. Gaum, I'm going to try a last time. My basic question is, why all this activity now when a child died 3 years ago?
Yeah, from the side of the Human Rights Commission as such, we have taken action and we have done various investigative reports pertaining to these infrastructure matters and made findings and also recommendations. The problem is sometimes that these recommendations are not implemented. The Human Rights Commission is determined to make sure that our recommendations will be implemented, and as you say, it is actually always too late when a child has died, but I think that going forward everyone should work together to make sure once and for all that the basic infrastructure problems in our schools are sorted out. It is not acceptable that we still have schools without sanitation, without electricity, schools having to use pit latrines.
All right, thank you for your time. That was a commissioner from the South African Human Rights Commission, Andre Gaum.